What's up, everyone, and welcome to the
Billionaires Club.
I'm Monique.
I'm Malachi.
I'm Judah.
I'm Zion.
And we are the members of the Billionaires Club. As you can see, we are back with another episode. This is episode 6 of the Billionaires Club, and today we are representing Coca-Cola.
Are.
Now, you may be asking, why is Malachi drinking Minute Maid? It's a brand under Coca-Cola. And then, Judah, what are you representing?
You had to throw me underneath the bus like that, huh? I don't got anything.
Man.
We're working on Judah, but it's okay.
There we are.
Here in spirit. Anyways, so we have a great show for you guys. I mean, we're at episode 6. You guys already know what to expect, so let's just hop into Judah's segment.
The two stocks that Monique and Zion will be debating about will be Visa and American Express. Visa was founded in 1958 in California, and people love working there. And American Express was founded in 1850, and the CEO is Stephen Square. I hope I'm saying that right.
So as you can see, we have our special guest in the room, in the house, I don't know, in the building. But before we get into the interview, we have to start off with the debate. And like Judah's already said, we are doing Visa versus American Express. So let's hop into it. Okay, so the first reason why American Express is superior over Visa is American Express is a card issuer and a payment network. It is a double duty company while Visa is just a payment network. Why that is important is because American Express makes a portion of the revenue directly from their credit cards, whereas Visa just is a payment network and they work with other banks to produce cards. American Express already has all of that together. American Express is over 170 years old, and it is competing with the newest startups in the tech area, right? So even though it's such a old company, it's still competing with the new companies, which makes it more easier to grow towards growth since it's already has that strong foundation. And even though it's been on a decline because no one's really traveling anywhere, no one's really buying anything because of the quarantine, it's still found ways to continue to grow in new platforms and new other things so that it won't just tank and fall to the ground.
Okay, so I think Visa is better than American Express because one, they don't just do like online, they do cards, and they are actually moving. They're actually moving into online payment. So they have partnered, I think it's called MBeef. I don't know how to say it. It's like MP something. And they have partnered with them, and they're a big part online. So since they partnered with them, they'll do better online payment. And Visa is one of the biggest DAO holders, biggest members on DAO, so they do very well in their stocks. And I was looking at like a chart, and they just keep going up. They go down a little bit and they bounce back up. So I think Visa is better because I think I've never even heard of American Eagle until a while ago. So I think Visa is more popular and it is used more. And especially if they're going into online, especially during this time, I think they will go up. And it will be better for like a long term.
All right, so that was the debate. Nice, short and sweet. So we're gonna let Mr. Peter kind of think it over as he's being interviewed. So Malachi, take it away.
So hopefully you guys enjoy this debate. Now we're getting to the interview portion. Thank you, Mr. Peter, for coming on today. Like Monique said, in the house, in the building, we don't really know. We're just gonna improvise and wing it in this house, in the building today. So we can interview, so we can get some knowledge from your stories and your tips that you have to share with us. So to get started, can you share just a little bit, very brief, if you could share anything about yourself so people could get to know you, what would you share?
Okay, well, do you want to know my professional background or my investing background?
Whatever. Honestly, your investment background, just so we can get to know you.
Yeah, let's talk about the investing stuff. So, I've, for whatever reason, I've always been pretty fascinated with investing in stocks. Uh, I, I'm a Gen Xer, so I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s and 90s. And even when I was a kid in America, there was a really big influence of Wall Street. Well, even the movie Wall Street came out when I was a kid. And the whole thing with greed is good and Gordon Gekko and all that, that was a part of America growing up. And for better for worse, materialism and all of that, and consumerism was a big part of our culture. So I was definitely affected by it. And my dad always had a pretty strong interest in the stock market. He wasn't a big investor. He was a military man. He was in the U.S. Army. And so, he didn't have a lot of disposable income, but he was definitely interested in it. And then when I think I was, I don't even remember, 22 or 23, he put some money, he put $500 into a stock trading account for my birthday. I believe it was my birthday. And he told me there was this money in this account, and he said it was ready to go. And he basically said, figure it out. And that was it. That was sort of the marching orders. Like, you get to figure out what you want to do with it. And so then, I wanted to honor that. So I just started reading, and I just read and read and read. And this is before, the internet had as much information as it does now. And I was a broke college kid, and coming out of college, I was broke too. So I didn't even have a computer to start. So it was literally books and Barnes and Noble. And back then you had Borders bookstores and stuff like that. But then, you go online and you start to figure out, and you get a PC and you start to read and research. And I think I've read everything you could read. All the traditional stuff, like Benjamin Graham and Warren Buffett's letters and Peter Lynch, and it goes on and on. And definitely started as like a fundamental investor. If anyone that's really into stocks kind of gets that whole thing. But over time, I've definitely grown. I definitely look at some technical information and some performance information too. So I've definitely evolved. I don't know if I'd call myself just a fundamental investor, but I've got some traditional stuff. I'm an executive for a large company, so the 401ks and the IRAs and stuff like that I've got. But I definitely have a trading account. I have a couple of trading accounts, and I actively trade. And that's fun because that lets me experiment where, the retirement stuff and the mutual funds and the ETFs, you can't do a lot with that. But with my trading accounts, you can kind of do some fun, crazy stuff and experiment with it. And it's been pretty successful. There's always room to grow. You always make mistakes. But yeah, it's an ongoing process, and you grow and you learn and you take your lumps. And as a lot of people have been trading, in the last couple of weeks, if you've seen GameStop or AMC movie theaters or some of those other investments, some people have made a ton of money, and some people have really gotten burned really bad on it, depending on which end of the trade you were on. So that's really been it. And even now, I just constantly devouring information to try to get that edge and try to learn a little bit more. But yeah, we can talk about that too. And there's a ton of resources out there. And with the internet now, you're starting to see, and with media, you're starting to see how people trade and how different it can be. So you can trade a lot of different ways. You can be very conservative, very aggressive. You can do all sorts of weird stuff. You have Forex now, you have currency, you have Bitcoin. You have all sorts of crazy stuff out there. So you can do a lot. People can short when that used to be a lot harder to do. So there's a lot out there. So yeah, hopefully that covers it, a little bit of it.
No, thank you for sharing. Because I was about to ask a question, but you answered it. I was going to ask, what's your investment story? But you shared, how you got into it and where you're at currently. So thank you for sharing. So
Sure.
I was thinking about a cool question that I've never asked before for the interview. So if I could ask you a question, the question would be, what is one thing you enjoy about investing and one thing you absolutely like you dislike about it? Okay, so one thing you enjoy, one thing you dislike about it.
Let's start with the good stuff. So I think the thing I like the most about it is it's like the ultimate puzzle, right? If you can figure it out and you can figure it out well, you would be one of the richest people on the planet. If you're pretty good, you can still do really well. And there's only a few people that have really done well, or we don't know about them, right? There's a few people we know here and there. But if you can kind of crack that mystery, you would be better than 1% of the world's population. You would be the top of the top, right? The frustrating thing about it is if you're not careful and you play it right, you can still lose. So you can make the right choices and you can have a bad day, right? So you look at today, the market was a little bit rough. It was a little choppy. And, I think a lot of it has to do with, you're still dealing with COVID and you're still dealing with that. But then you're also dealing with horrible weather. So half of the country isn't even operational right now, and that affects the market. And that the market doesn't like uncertainty. So you can have all of those things happen. You can have a down day. And if you're not careful, you can really beat yourself up over it. You can really feel like you failed when really it would have been a hard day to have done well. So that's the thing, is you can't let your head get to you too much, especially on your bad days. Because on your good days, you're going to feel like the smartest person in the world. You're going to feel like you're the best that there's ever been. And then on your bad days, you might just feel awful. And you don't want to be too high on your good days. You don't want to think you're God's gift. You're just still who you are. And then on your worst days, you're not as bad as you think you are. So you got to stay in the middle. You got to stay in the sweet spot. You're not as great as you think you are, and you're not as bad as you think you are.
Thank you. I like that. I love that. When I feel like when you were saying, when you hit that high point, don't think you're the GOAT. You're great because
right.
Don't let it go to your head, because there's still those challenges when it comes to investing. So I love that. I'm gonna take that to heart. All right. So for my last question, unless anyone has anything else they want to ask our special guest on today, what would be one tip that you could just if you could leave us with one tip, only one thing, what would it be?
It would be, and you guys, let me just tell you, I'm a little jealous because you've got so much time ahead of you. And the time part matters so much more than the money part. Because if you have a lot of time, you don't need a lot of money. You can make the money but you can't buy the time. So you guys actually have a great head start. But the tip would be, use the time to continually learn and figure out how you want to trade based off of your personality and your likes and dislikes, right? So each one of you is going to trade a little bit different. Some of you are going to be a little more aggressive. Some of you are going to play the long game. Some of you are going to play some of the short game. Some of you guys are going to use a long timeline. Some of you guys might day trade. You can make money on all of it, but most people don't make money on all of it. They find their niche and then they get into it. So find out what works for you. If it's just fundamental investing, that's fine. If you want to look at the technical stuff, that's fine. If you want to look at the quantitative stuff, that's fine too. I would say learn as much as you can and then grow. Just grow. You let your trading process evolve. Learn how you make money and learn how you protect it, because it's a game. You got to learn how to play offense and you got to learn how to play defense.
Thank you for that. I appreciate all that you've shared. It really does mean a lot for you to come here on this platform, in the house, in the building. We're still working on that, but for you to come here and share your knowledge with us, we really do appreciate it. So I'm gonna kick it off back to Monique so we can see where this debate is gonna end, or how it's gonna end.
All right.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And so I guess just as you're kind of explaining, just explain your thoughts behind the debate. Go easy on us. And then, I guess just pick a winner. Therefore, you either gonna tie up this, you're gonna tie up the score, or
Right.
someone's gonna be more ahead.
You guys were great. So let me preface this. I have a little bit of a bias because I have invested in Visa and MasterCard, and I've never invested in American Express. So I don't know as much about American Express. So I can tell you from my own experience, Visa and MasterCard have been really good investments for me. Actually, I think I made more money on MasterCard than I think Visa, but they were both great. I don't know as much about American Express. So if it were me, I would go back to what I know. And I would probably have to say I would go with Visa as the winner, the choice. But that's because that's what I know. So I already you already caught me on one that I had already made money on. So that was bad. But if I could give you something, if you said what I would invest in now, as far as those types of things, and I just, as a disclaimer, I don't have money in it now, but I've always kind of eyeballed it, would be Square. I think that's really the nice play, because if you look at them, they're kind of like what the money processing thing is for the little guy. And you see it everywhere now. You see the software is easy to use. It's real pretty and sleek and nice. And I think their transaction costs are even less for the little merchandiser, business owner, entrepreneur. So if you gave me only the two, I'd probably go with Visa. But if you said, if I had some more money to throw at it, what would I look at? It would probably be Square, though.
Well, thank you. You tied up the score. It is now 3-3. So it's gonna be interesting last couple of episodes, but thank you for making it interesting, and thank you for coming on here and just sharing with us and allowing this platform to be able to reach so many others. So we want to thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you.
You're on the right track. Keep it up.
So as you can see, it is just the four of us, which means it is time to wrap up this episode. We want to give a special shout out to Mr. Peter for joining us and dropping those gems, and for giving Zion the win, which ties the series up 3-3. And we have 2 more episodes left, so hopefully we don't end on a tie, but because that's going to be juicy. But anyways, Malachi, go ahead and present your joke.
All right, so as you guys know, my jokes are getting worse by the week. So it's not really even a joke no more. It's just a statement. So so I hope you guys enjoy this statement by Malachi Jones. So, that should have been a joke right there. That was pretty funny. I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna myself right there. All right, so let's get it. So, I'm gonna get straight to the punchline because there is no punchline really to this joke. What do you call... And anytime you say it's joke and you say, what do you call, there is no joke to this. So what do you call something that has just so many stocks just piling on something, like it's just rushing someone? What do you call that? The answer to this is an infestation. Wait, what? Infestation. There we go. You got it the second time. So that's my statement. Hopefully you guys enjoy and be blessed.
So that's it. Malachi has presented us with another cheesy joke. Did you expect any different? I think not. But that is it for episode 6. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share with a friend or share with people who you think would be interested in this. And you can also email us if you have any questions or if you know someone that would like to be interviewed. And that's it. We will see you in another episode.